Hello and welcome to the Vacay Podcast. We like to say every day is a vacay. At least we try to make it that way. We've got a good guest today, Dr. Robb Kelly, addiction expert and author of Daddy. Daddy, please stop drinking. That kind of hits home for me. I got 4 boys, Doc, and they've never said that to me, but I'm like, God, if they did, I'd just like melt into the floor. How are you, man?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for having me on, guys. Great to see you. Great to be here. I'm excited. Hey, guys, best podcast ever right here.
Hey, can we get that on film? Did we get that on film? Oh, we are on film. Okay, good. Doc, can we use that in any of our promo reels?
All of them.
Yes, I love it. We're in San Antonio, right, Doc?
San Antonio, Texas, live. Yep, so that's where we are.
Well, the good doctor is so gracious to share his time in the middle of a very practice. As we mentioned, he's an addiction expert. And as we like to cover all the boundaries of health and wellness, we thought we've had a lot of specialists on, but not a practicing doctor and someone that's written the book and just lived through this, yourself. Doc, I'd love to just set the table. Chris and I'd just love to hear and let our audience hear. Obviously, you have the book. We'll have all the links. We could probably spend 3 hours, I'm sure, just on your story. But why don't you set the table for everyone on Dr. Kelly and your background?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Dr. Robb Kelly. I'm an addiction doctor, guys, and a childhood trauma healer, alcoholic and addict. Ex-alcoholic and addict. Took my first drink at the age of 9 years old on stage with my musical family. And once I took that drink, all bets were off. So basically, grew up normally, drinking weekends with the band. Eventually, made something of myself, come from a trailer park, or projects, as they say in America, council estates in England. Very, very poor family, paycheck to paycheck. And always wanted more, to be honest, which is part of the alcoholic and addict's tendency. It's 3 parts of the brain that differ from normal people. Made something of myself and then lost it all. Lost everything I'd worked for. We're talking about millions of pounds. Ended up homeless, lost my children, lost my wife, practices, music, all that stuff I lost, and spent 14 months on the streets. Suicide attempts. 2 occasions it worked. I was dead. And they brought me back to life on the side of the road. I hated them men for that. And then many, many years later, I came over to America, Dallas, Texas, for 2 weeks. And that was 18 years ago. And here we are today. So that's a quick rundown. We can obviously get into different parts of it. But yeah, very glad to be here. Very glad to be on this show with the one and only Ryan and the one and only Chris. Yes,
there is only one. There's only one monopoly allowed in the U.S. anymore, and it's ourselves. Yes, and you are a true monopoly, Dr. Kelly. So, Dr. Kelly, I appreciate the summary, and, we have some guests that will spend 40 minutes talking about their background, and so you summarized a lot there. But I do want to, hone in maybe on your own recovery and then maybe how you help others recover. Those 2 things are probably really key and part and parcel to your story.
It is. I know when I was suffering, nobody could help me. I went to the doctors and he said, "Oh, you're an alcoholic. Go to AA." What I found out today is alcoholism is the only self-diagnosed illness in the world. By the way, guys, listening, you're going to hear stuff today you've never heard before. We are the leaders in this addiction industry. So I know when I got off the streets finally, I wanted to spend the rest of my life finding out what alcoholism is. And when I say alcoholism, guys, drug addiction on the end of that. I just can't be bothered saying everything. So what alcoholism is, and I was absolutely blown away when I found out what it is. I thought alcoholics were somebody who drank too much alcohol. Wrong. Alcoholics are born, drug addicts are made. Bull. Did he just say that? Yeah, I said that. With years and years of experiment tests and thing around it. Alcoholism is hereditary. It's passed down from generation to generation. If you can't trace 3 generations back with alcoholism, you are a heavy drinker or you abuse alcohol. You are not the alcoholic. So when I was studying alcoholism as a whole, I find out that 3 parts of the brain differ from any other addiction on earth. Hypothalamus, basal ganglia, and the hypothalamus, basal ganglia, and the amygdala. Them 3 differ from any other addiction in the world. And that's the difference on why it's called a disease. I have a biochemical reaction to the ethanol in alcohol. So from my first day of drinking at the age of 9, all bets were off. I was always going to either end up dead, in treatment, or in prison. There are only choices. So how long that takes, we don't know that. That could be a year, 10 years, 50 years. I don't know. But by the time I was 21, my drinking was out of control. And again, I came off to study the neuroscience behind alcoholism and what it really was. And we found out a lot of things that devastate and aghast people today, but they're true. Marijuana isn't the gateway drug. Childhood trauma is the gateway drug. And the quicker you understand that, again, with children, anything less than nurturing is child abuse, especially when we come to addiction, alcoholism, families. And I didn't know this. So when we started practicing and teaching this stuff, people start to get well. So 30 years later, and about 8,000 patients on, we have a 97% success rate, unheard of anywhere in the world. The nearest one to us right now is about 22%, because it's the neuroscience, it's the behavioral science, it's all the stuff, the brain spotting, all the stuff that nobody else really looks into. Because the bottom line is, guys, is there's no money in recovery. Not recovery itself. There's money in people go in and out of treatment centers, but there's no money in recovery. If you get somebody well, it's a bad business plan. Your accountants will throw that plan away. You have to have repeat money coming in. We don't play that game. You can't buy our services. I turned Britney Spears down for $1 million. Dallas, Texas, in Campese's restaurant. Turned her down. She wasn't ready. 2 days later, she was in the newspaper shaving her head off. Absolutely insane and drunk. Not going to work with you. But if you pass the assessment, we guarantee that you'll recover, get your life back, and get your family back where possible. Some wives have had enough. But yeah, we're very proud of what we do, but we're also very, very aggressive in what we do. Some people call me cocky. I don't give a shit. When you start paying my mortgage, I'll start listening to you. We have proven success rates, and yeah, we love what we do because we do what we love. How's that?
Doc, a lot to unpack there. I'm going to start with a quote you made. The gateway drug is not marijuana. It's childhood trauma. If I heard you correctly, did I hear that correctly?
You did. Yes, you did. Childhood trauma plays a huge effect on addictions. It plays a huge effect on behavioral science as we grow up. And it all comes down to that. Now, the thing is that people say, I disagree with that. No, childhood trauma. We're talking trauma, not he was in a car crash or a plane crash. We're talking about the stupid little things like, this was mine or one of mine. Hey, Robert, how many times have I told you can't go to college like your brother? You're too stupid. Childhood trauma. So what I'm going to grow up thinking is I'm too stupid. And that doesn't come to me as in, should I go for this job? No, Rob, you're too stupid. It doesn't do that. It doesn't. The subconscious brain leaks it out slowly and talks me out of applying for that job, because I know I'm not going to get it. So I'm not going to come to you and have the interview and you fail me. I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to fail you straight away. And the same happens with relationships. When girls go up to women and they leave the house, if it's a dysfunctional house, let's say dad was the alcoholic, comes home, beats mom every night while drunk, the girl from that house will go on to attract the guy who ends up being an alcoholic and the guy that beats her every night. And I'll tell you something else. If she doesn't and it's a nice guy, she'll self-sabotage that relationship because it feels weird and not natural.
History repeats itself.
It does. It does in the most strange ways. Learned behavior and enmeshment from parents to children is what we are talking. Mom can pass depression down to daughter. That's the kind of thing that childhood trauma we're talking about. We're not talking about the big T's. The therapist, God bless you, therapist. The big T's and the small T's, no such thing. They're all huge T's when it comes to trauma. And the quicker we recognize that, the quicker we can heal. That's the deal here. We don't want to just leave it on and leave it on. And then all of a sudden you're 25, 26 and you're having this destructive pattern where you don't know where it's come from. You have to pick that up straight away.
If alcoholism, it has a very, like you said, it's somewhat, born into you. It's passed on or genetic. And then there's a lot of people that maybe abuse alcohol. Let's talk a little bit about the differentiation of those two things. And if the recovery, though, is the same or if it's both needed, because I don't want anyone to leave thinking, well, you only need treatment or recovery or curing, whatever we want to call it, if you have alcoholism. Yeah, I would assume you treat a lot of people that don't have alcoholism, but that are abusing alcohol.
Yeah, and people say, oh, look at Jimmy around the corner, he drinks every day, he's an alcoholic. And that's not true. That doesn't mean it's true. There's a difference between the Friday night drunk and the Friday night alcoholic. One needs to go to jail, one needs to go to hospital for treatment. And that's the bottom line. When I took the first drink, can I stop? Is the biggest question I ask somebody. Alcoholics will say no. People who abuse alcohol, well, yeah. If you abuse alcohol, guys, if you can't trace it 3 generations, if you can stop when you start the first drink and just go home for a few weeks and come back, here's the solution to that. Stop freaking drinking so much. End of story. Cut back. Get back in shape. End of story. The treatment for alcoholism is totally different. The circuitry within the brain needs to be rewired. The central nervous system, basal ganglia, hypothalamus, amygdala, all them 3 need to be rewired. Neural pathways need to be rewired within the brain. Heavy drinkers, stop drinking. That's it. They can do that. Heavy drinkers and drinkers that abuse can stop or moderate, given a sufficient reason. The doctor says, hey, listen, if you don't stop drinking, you're going to die. That guy's off. Alcoholics, impossible. And the reason why it's impossible is because part of the brain is telling the alcoholic to drink. So sit down, guys, while you listen to this. If you sat at home, it's going to blow your mind. So the hypothalamus, let's talk about the real alcoholic for a second. The hypothalamus from birth tells us internally to drink water, eat food to survive. That's why we survive. You see babies when they stick their hand down the mouth or they hold the tummy and cry. That means he needs to eat. What happens when we grow up is that hypothalamus in alcoholics turns around, and instead of asking the alcoholic to eat food and drink water, it tells us to drink alcohol. That's why alcoholics can go days and weeks without any food or water.
Chris, I know you've been through your trials and tribulations on drinking specifically, so I'm going to let you kind of dive in a little bit here.
Yeah, this is like a master class. Doc, I had my trials. I went to treatment 5 times, detox, I think 3 times. It's been about a little over 3 years now since I, cleaned up. And I love what you're saying, because I totally agree with you. And I look back to my experience with treatment. One, it's totally a business model. I have so much distaste for how we go about treating addiction because of my own experience. But what you said, like the generational thing, I always struggled with that, because at least in my family, there may have been, but it's not talked about. And I always wonder, like I heard, oh, maybe your grandfather, your great grandfather may have had alcoholism. And I don't know if just back then it was not as discussed as it is now. But I have friends that they definitely abused, but when shit hit the fan, they could walk away. I was not one of those people. I was in the rat brain, right? They call it, right? The reptilian brain.
Yeah, we're all in or all
just
out. That's what it is. We're all in or we're all out. That's alcoholics. Listen to this, Chris. I know that now this is about alcoholics, not drug addicts. Drug addicts have the addictive personality. We're talking about alcoholism only, where we're allergic. What I found when I traced my generation back is, grandfather liked to drink. Really? Grandfather, when I found out, was a chronic alcoholic that died of alcohol poisoning. But he likes a drink. That's why it's when you get to my age, it's hard because none of it was talked about. The things I say to parents right now is start talking to your children if there's addiction or alcoholism in the family. What age should I start? 6, 7, 8, around there? Because if I'd have known that there was alcoholism in the family, if I'd have known that my uncles and aunties and cousins had lost children and committed suicide because of alcoholism, if I had that talk with my parents, things might have turned out different. I mean, I'm glad they didn't, but knowledge is everything. If you don't know what you're suffering from, because I didn't, Chris, I went to the doctor, he was baffled. Went to friends, they were baffled. Just stop drinking because of your kids, Rob. What's wrong with you, my dad used to say. It's like, I thought I was different. I thought I was the one that wasn't going to recover. Then I go to treatment, and I hear these guys saying, okay, there's 15 of us in the room. By this time next week, 12 of us would have relapsed. I'm buying into that shit. I'm buying into it. It's like, what are we teaching in these treatment centers? Why are you teaching relapse prevention? You know, it's crazy. So I'm with you definitely on that. But, education is everything, man.
So, I couldn't go any further in the episode today without talking about our favorite sponsor, Caldera Labs. This is premium men's skincare. And look, I need all the secret weapons I can get. I'm 46 this year. And, these fine lines are starting to show. But the only thing keeping me fine is Caldera Labs. Skincare, got face lotion, and this body bar. Let me tell you, it lathers up perfect. But in all seriousness, you have to rub in all the lotions, and then you use this stuff called the serum. This might be the serum of the gods. I'm telling you, this stuff is awesome. I never thought you could have the glow in the morning. I was like, everybody talks about that. I watched the women's commercials. They talk about this, the glow they get. And I'm like, that doesn't happen. But no, it does happen with Caldera Labs. All natural ingredients, perfect for the skin, and it makes you look younger. I mean, I feel at least 5 years younger. I mean, we're making no claims here, but I'm telling you, this is the best skincare I've ever used. I only promote what I support and what actually works. And if you use Rad Ryan, you'll get 20% off. If you go to calderalabs.com and you learn more about their products, I'm telling you, you will thank me for it. And look, if you're young, you need to get ahead of the game so you avoid the wrinkles. If you're my age, you're just trying to hide a few. And if you're a little older, you're trying to hide a lot. And let me tell you, this will help. Makes your skin feel great. Mine's never felt better, never looked better. And it's all thanks to Caldera Labs, the official skincare partner of the Radcast. How do you treat that addictive personality?
Addictive personalities can be good or bad. Obviously, everybody has an addiction. There's a blanket statement for every single person, whatever that addiction is. So that I go to the gym, Dr. Rob, and I'll tell you now, it's good for me. I go every day. Okay, buddy, if you go on vacation with your family to Italy or something, and the first thing you do when you get there is look for a gym, you have a problem. You're taking the time away from your family. So addictive personalities, both addictions, but addictive personalities can change. You will always have the addictive personality, but what are we focusing on today? Are we focusing on success, family, if you want to be rich, best husband around? Quantum physics and neuroscience tells us that you can be anybody you want to be. So it's good. Every famous person, musician, author, they have that addictive personality that takes you well. You just need to get away from the bad stuff you were taking because of your childhood trauma, because I want to get out of this. I can't stand this. So the question I always ask myself as a young is, why did Robb Kelly hate Robb Kelly for so long? And there lies the answer.
What's it like working with celebrities?
Well, I am very, I've never been impressed by celebrities. I've never been impressed by guys that come over here and want to run it their way. So we have a conversation when they get off the plane or the helicopter at the ranch is this: I don't give a shit who you are, but you need to know who I am. Because if you step out of line in the 90 days that you're here, I will put you on a train in hours. You can't buy it. And as soon as they hear that with my aggressive stance and kind of, I used to be a fighter and a bodybuilder. I've still got that attitude. It's like, this is serious business. Once they realize that and they don't get pampered to, like they do in Promises and other high-priced treatment centers where you get free massages a day and a sauna, really? when we start to get serious. And I guarantee him, I'll get you to the place you want to be if you trust me and follow direction. But if you don't, I got no time for you. You don't get a second chance here. You do not get a second chance.
Do they come work with you directly in person?
Yes. Yes. I have small caseload. I have about 6 people. 5 of them are household names. Everybody wouldn't know.
So
you know, and they always say this is the best thing that's happened to me. No one's ever said no to me before. It's like, I really don't give a shit. I don't need the money, that's for sure. I don't need the fame, that's for sure. So let's get down to the real problem. The real problem is you. Get rid of these yes men for 90 days and we'll get you right.
Have you ever sent anyone home?
Oh, 8,000, 5,000. I've gone home. Oh, we make no. People think we're joking. You know, the guys up there. You can't send me on. Next minute, my bodyguard walks in, grabs him by the shoulder, and walks him out. You should see their face when we walk him out. It's like, I told you. Yeah, but passages. I'm going to shit about passages. I told you that if you mess around, I'm going to out you go. I'll never do it again. I don't care. Go on, you're finished. This is serious business.
How does the in-person work versus the telehealth?
Say again?
I know you mentioned some telehealth work. So what's the distinguishment between, in-person, 90 days with you versus telehealth?
If you are working, if you know about telehealth and how to do it, when COVID came out, all of a sudden everybody was a telehealth provider. I went back to get my second PhD in behavioral science to be able to work via telehealth. But really, if you know what you're doing, there's no difference. There really isn't no difference. We found great success with telehealth. Then what we find with real high celebrities is it's better to get them out of their environment, get them out of their house, get them away from the media. And we have a ranch in Dallas, Texas, and we helicopter into there. And nobody knows where they are. Now we can concentrate on what the problem is.
Yeah.
So telehealth has been very successful for us. All my therapists, psychotherapists, coaches are all telehealth around the world. We have about 12 of them in different countries, including my daughter.
Oh, wow. Run in the family.
Or if you've read the book, guys, Daddy, please stop drinking. It's the last thing she said to me when the authorities take them off me and the police. So 4 years ago, she got back in touch after 28 years. And I went over to see them, and she introduced me to my 3-month-old granddaughter. We sent her back to school, and as about 14 months ago, she opened my Manchester, UK office as my lead therapist.
That's so badass.
Yeah.
Wow.
Chris, I'm like dominating here because I got Doc so interesting, and I'm like got a million things swirling in my head. We probably asking some of the same questions.
No, I'm thoroughly enjoying this. I think obviously addiction is becoming more and more talked about and more mainstream. I know when I first, went to treatment in 2007, I think Lindsay Lohan might have went her first time back then, but it was definitely not as commonly talked about and accepted as it is now. And I remember being 20, trying to explain it to friends, like, dude, this is a disease. This is like, my body is different biologically.
Yep.
And it was not very well received, I would say.
Oh, no.
However, now I feel like it's a big conversation happening. And I think it's thanks to guys like you, getting into the nitty gritty and diving a little deeper. Cause I'm right there with you. It all comes down to childhood. I think everyone's shit comes down to childhood, really.
It does.
And we always joke about, marijuana being a gateway drug. And I'm like, I don't know anyone who wanted to go do cocaine after marijuana, but I know a lot of people after a few drinks.
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody take marijuana and go wreck a hotel or somebody up or, go out rioting, anything like that.
Right.
But yeah, I'm with you. People used to laugh at us when we first came in. And, we stuck by our guns because we know it was onto something. But yeah, we've been trying for the last 30 years to get it out the closet, and get it into open mainstream. And we're just almost about right now where people are not afraid to talk about addiction. talk about alcoholism in the family, because it used to be a dirty word, and to some people right now it still is, until they realize that their daughters, their sons, their uncles, their aunties, their parents all suffer from some kind of addiction. 80% of that is bad. So when you blanket statement this, we're in a bad state. Everybody knows somebody who suffers from alcoholism or drug addiction. And if you don't, it's probably you.
That's a fact.
Yeah. That's a painful, look in the mirror right there. You got them all, Doc. I mean, I've been known for a few statements, but man, you got all the things. Gotta write some of these down. Let's talk about the book a little bit. Being a father, that resonates with me. Daddy, please stop drinking. We're talking with addiction expert, Dr. Robb Kelly. Doc, I don't have to ask the inspiration for the book. That's if you are half a human, or if you breathe, you can it kind of grips you by the heart. But talk to us a little more about the book.
So I had no intentions of writing a book, no intentions at all. And everyone keeps saying, you should write one. Well, let me give you the backstory to that. I stabbed my wife 3 times one night because she wouldn't let me finish drinking my bottle of vodka. So I fled to Spain because there was a attempted murder charge on me. I came back 3 months later when all charges had been dropped. But when I got back, my wife was there with my 2 little girls, ages 1 and 3. And as soon as I come, she took the kids and to her mother-in-law's, and she left me. Well, I was furious. You don't leave me. Do you know who I am? So I got to my attorney, and the next day he came back with my children, 2 little girls. I paid him a bunch of money. I brought him. He'd been to court. I brought him in. I put him in the front room in front of the TV. I walked. Now I've been sober for 3 days because I knew I was getting my kids back, and I knew it had all gone wrong, and I knew I had to face her when I come home. When I put them down in front of the TV, I walked into the kitchen, and the thought crossed my mind, wouldn't it be great to have 1 drink just to celebrate them coming home? Now I'm a proper father. 3 days later, when the police kicked the door down, the children not being fed or changed diapers for about 2 days, the police took them off me, and they gave me papers saying unfit father. Now, they walked into the door. Mother-in-law was carrying the young one, ages 1, and my ex-wife was carrying, or hand in hand with my daughter, Charlie. And as they walked down the path, this daunting feeling, what have I done? But my daughter said 3 things to me. He said, Daddy, please don't go. Then they walked down the path, and then she turned around again. She's holding Mummy's hand. And then she says, Daddy, please get better. And as they got to the big iron gates, it opened this gate, and she turned around one final time and says, Daddy, please stop drinking. And I couldn't do it, guys. And about 3 months after that, the houses are gone, the cars are gone. Okay, so scroll on to 9 years ago. I came over here 17, 18 years ago, and I hang around with guys. So show me your friends, show me your future. Just put that in your mind, guys, at home for a second. I hang around with guys, and people outside my guys were saying, hey, you should write a book. So I said to my guys once, I said, hey, I'm thinking of writing a book. And they went, don't be stupid, you're not an author. Oh yeah, that'd be stupid. Nobody's going to read a book on addiction. So I never wrote a book. Come down to San Antonio 4 years ago, and I said to my new guys, I'm thinking of writing a book. And they all went, oh my God, I'd read that, it'd be phenomenal. So for the next 3.5 years, I wrote bits of, stuff that had come back in my mind, or I'd voiced things when I was driving. If I saw a dad coming out of McDonald's with little kids, I knew that I used to do that on weekend. I'd write that down with I've never read the book. I give all this stuff over 3 years or something to my wife. And she created this book, and she came and she said, Rob, I've got the book. I was too scared to read it. And when it came out, it obviously sold pretty well. I was too scared to read it. One of these days I'm going to read it, guys, but all these years on, it's still painful, I don't think I'll ever get over the stuff I did to them. There was never any violence towards the kids, but I used to get up in the morning, my wife would have black eyes. I go, what the hell happened to you? And then she told me it was me. I didn't believe her. It was like, there's no way would I do that. But when she spent years later, when the memories come back, the memory recall, I don't get triggered, by the way. I hate triggered. The memory recall comes back, and painful. But it helps others right now. Most people that call me or write me right now about the book is parents. say, to give a copy of this to the kids. So it was done aggressively. It was done to give back. We don't take, it's $9 on Amazon, guys. We don't take a penny of that. Not a dime. You hear people going, well, buy the book and the proceeds. No, not the profits. Every single dime goes back out to the community. And if you don't like it, call me, get hold of me, I'll refund you $9. And we give $150,000 every year, me and my wife, out of our personal pockets. And then we have the Robb Kelly Foundation and we give back. So we're always giving back. It's very important to me because the book taught me to give back from what I've been through. But we're almost, the book's ready, or the book's, kind of ready to go. We didn't have a title. And that's when my daughter got in touch with us and we're over there talking. And my daughter says, about the book, what about the last thing you said to me? I was like, oh God, I can't remember that. And she was 3 years old, guys. I can't remember that. And she said, it was Daddy, please stop drinking. Wow.
Powerful.
Yeah.
But what's powerful, man, and one, I respect the hell out of you for being able to talk about what you did. Some people can never own up to that kind of shit. And then, who's to judge one from, but every dollar you're giving back, you got the foundation, you're paying it forward, you're treating other people. There's a lot of people that do this shit that sit around and don't do anything to make up for it. And who's to judge what makes up for what? Once you get into that game, you're trying to play God. But all I'll say is I respect you for trying to make do on it.
Yeah, it's something personal. I giving back is what makes me get up in the morning. Now, I'm fortunate enough to be able to give money away, and we do every day. Somebody gets blessed monetary when I leave the house every single day. And staff get blessed every day monetary wherever, if I don't go out the house. So it's something that I need to do. I'm proud of doing that. I always remember in cars with friends, and I'll stop at the red light, there'd be a guy there begging, and I'll give him like $50. My friend said to me once, it's a waste of time. You know what he's going to do with that, don't you? And my answer was pure and simple. I don't care what he's going to, I'm hoping he's going to buy drugs and alcohol because that's what I did on the streets. But that's not my concern. When I give the money, that's my concern. What he does with it is none of my concern. And that's why I've lived life since I got off the streets, when I've had little money or a lot of money. It's just who we are, man.
What's the
I totally agree.
What's your process for working with non-celebrities? I know you mentioned that you do help people that maybe can't afford it. What's that process?
It's the same, man. We don't discriminate. The only thing is when I couldn't afford treatment, I was on the streets. That's what we base our thing on. So it's the full program. It's just that you don't pay. And then what we do is when we've worked with these celebrities, we go, hey guys, do you want to give anything back, for other people? And they go, yeah, let me give you 50 grand. And it's like the foundation now. We've only just started it last month. So we've only got like $1,000 in. But our motto with the foundation is when we work with somebody free of charge and your money pays for that, or pays for your detox, or pays for a little card to get into work and back, you will get a letter off that person thanking you personally for buying that car, or sending him back to school, or buying his suit to appear in court to get his kids back weekend. I'm very adamant on that. That's where we're going to go forward on that, because once you know that your money's going to the real thing, a lot of charities out there take 60% for their staff, pay everyone's. I don't believe in that, guys. And we're fortunate enough not to care about that. Don't get me wrong, but no, the treatment's the same, man. And you will be let go as well, just like everyone else, if you mess around. And we do things like you have to text in 4 times a day. So it's a lot of accountability. If you miss one of those texts, you're done. We're finished. Go away. You're not ready. Yeah, but go away. Okay, if you're a household name, or if you're a guy sweeping the roads, if you don't follow direction, you're gone. No second chances with addiction. Last time you use over what you should do, you will die. It's the same thing here. Once you don't follow direction, we're getting rid of you. Oh, but Dr. Robb, you're giving up on me. No, you give up on yourself, buddy. This is life or death that we're doing now. Don't mess around with this shit. That's why you're homeless. That's why you keep relapsing. There's nobody has to keep relapsing. Education, people are just stupid sometimes. Well, go to treatment for 30 days, 3 weeks later. Go back to the same treatment for 30 days. Keep paying 40 grand to go in. What the hell? Treatment, guys, how can you live with yourself? How'd you sleep at night? Come on. We're the only company in the world that offer a money-back guarantee if you relapse. What? I know, right? Unbelievable. But that's what it's all about. Get on well. Get on with the life. We work with the family. So we have what's called a family system. So if the addicted person or alcoholic comes on board, his wife's got to come on board as well, and anybody over the age of 18 in that household. If the wife don't want to come on board, we will not touch the patient. People think we're crazy. How do you make money, they say. We don't do stuff like that. God takes care of us, you know. Do it for the right reason. That's what I say.
Step out of the disease and into the solution.
Boom, baby. You got away from that disease into the solution. And the definition of solution in the Oxford English is the act of solving a problem.
Yeah, solving it, not treating it, you know?
Yeah. Why are people, oh, well, stop me drinking. Why? Oh, well, stop me taking drugs. Why? Alcohol has 1% to do with alcoholism and the same with drug addiction. I never had a drinking problem, guys. I had a freaking thinking problem. My head was messed up. I was torn in that childhood trauma. I knew I would never be tall enough, thin enough, blonde enough, or rich enough. And that took me 45 years to realize that. But when I did and find my own true identity, because we lose our identity in the addiction side of our lives, once I found out who I really was, we are the only people, and you'll get this, Chris, we are the only people that get 2 lives in one lifetime. Don't mess the second one up, man. Don't mess the second one up.
Fact.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
There's a permanent solution for alcoholism and addiction. Permanent. You can be fully recovered from alcoholism and addiction. Don't let anybody tell you different.
As we close out here, Doc.
Refreshing message.
If someone's listening, we love to add value. You've added so much value already in our 35 minutes, but as we close out, someone might be listening, you know, how do they know when it's time? I get it when you fall off the cliff. You know, you race the car into the mountainside. It's time to go. But are there tips and or ways to recognize, or maybe people that can't even aren't even at that point for identifying where they are in this, you know, madness?
Yeah, I mean, if you're drinking every day and he's bothering the family or work, then you need to take a look at yourself. Well, listen, guys, we're known for putting our money where our mouth is and our feet in the trenches. So listen, guys, if you're in that place I described, if you're in that suicidal place where the kids and the family have gone, you're sat in a 1-bedroom apartment that's messed up, you sat there in the corner and you listen to this, 214-600-0210 is my personal cell phone number. You text me, man. You text me and say, hey, Dr. Robb, I need help. You text me, and I will call you back and give you a 15-minute pep talk that will change your life. And you know if it doesn't, I'm going to send you $100 for wasting your time. Because listen, guys, I would rather have a 15-minute pep talk with you than learn of your suicide next week. I am never going to step out of them trenches, guys. I'm always going to be here. Don't even talk about the money. Just call me up. I'll give you a 50-minute pep talk, give you some direction of where to go. We're not taking on clients. It's nothing to do with that. We're not taking on patients or clients right now. Let me tell you, if I can help, we're going to help. And if mums and dads and wives are out there, we have a staff here that will talk to you every single day for the rest of your life, never charge you a dime.
Boom.
That's awesome.
A lot of value there. We're going to put that link, you know, we might keep your cell phone off there. We'll at least have links to all your stuff. So if you listen, you get the value of having that direct number. And look, putting your money where your mouth is. Your time. Look, time is money. And Doc's putting it exactly. He's practicing exactly what he's preaching. Chris, any final thoughts here as we let Doc get back to solving big problems?
I'm fired up. I mean, it's even that whole, I tell you, because I know this business, the recovery business. Well, not a lot of guys there's a lot of money in it. Put it that way, right? There's not a lot of guys that are going to answer the phone anytime. The staff might talk to you for your 2 weeks when you check out and then it's done. It's the people like, Dr. Kelly this is a mission, it's a life purpose. And I tons of respect, and I feel the same myself, where after coming out the other side, I think my biggest driver is trying to just help people and inspire people and be, if anything, just be a voice on the other side of the phone. If someone, I get calls all the time now I'm 34 now, and now I've got some buddies that, you know, the drinking's not as fun anymore. That college is over, right? Reality's hit, and there's starting to be some issues. I mean, I had 2 calls last week, literally, with one kid, you know, out on a bender doing heroin. Another buddy of mine, the drinking's catching up with him. This is such a prevalent problem that it's people like you and programs like yours that are really making the impact out there. So I just tons of respect and appreciation and love what you're doing, Doc.
And guys, don't think you're on your own, by the way. If you think you have a drink problem or a drug problem or a sex problem or porn or cake or food, whatever it is, you're not. There's millions of us all doing the same. You know, start dialogue with somebody. Don't sit in the dark on your own. And if it's alcoholism addiction, guys, it will kill you. End of story. You're going to die. Okay, so take this message, take this podcast episode, you know, let's get well, let's do it. Don't wait till tomorrow. Listen, we've not got time, guys. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. We ain't got time. Parents, how many times are you waving your kid off to kindergarten? Next minute you say you're waving them off to college. We don't have time. Date that girl, start that job, buy that house, buy that car, and do it today. Do it today. You're not promised tomorrow. Start living the life that everybody seeks. You can. Quantum physics, neuroscience tells us anything is possible. So forget your political views for a second. We had a businessman running the country with no political experience whatsoever, okay? Don't dare tell me you can't do anything you want to do, because I'm going to call you a liar. Come on, baby. The mic's been dropped.
Mic drop.
Mic drop. There it is. Dr. Robb Kelly. Daddy, please stop drinking. Go buy the book. Dr. Kelly, where can everybody find you and keep up with everything you're doing?
Spell my name 2 B's, guys, in case you're listening, not watching. ROBBKELLY.com is the website. You'll find the book. You'll find our conferences. You'll find anything you want to get on there. There's actually a button on there if you get to the 3rd page that says contact me direct. You want to go press that button, and I'm on the end of the phone. What else you want? Oh, my God, already. Come on, get on the phone. Press it. Let's talk.
Yes, there's value. We'll have links to all that on the show notes. And we can't thank you enough, Dr. Kelly, for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, guys. You're awesome. Thank you so much.
Hey, you know where to find us, thevacaypodcast.com. Search for Robb Kelly. That's 2 B's, ROBBKELLY. You'll find all the highlight clips today, the links to Dr. Kelly's stuff. Hey, if you need help, ask for help. Get in touch with Dr. Robb. For Chris Hansen, I'm Ryan Alford. We'll see you next time on the Vacay Podcast.